What if I told you that all of your preconceived notions about Remy Ma and Papoose's relationship were untrue? What if I told you that Fat Joe was purportedly doing much more than just leaning back behind the scenes while Papoose was penning love letters and keeping it up with best tributes and prison bids? Because 50 Cent claims that the man who has been referring to Remy Ma as her sibling for more than 10 years may be the true father of her child rather than the man she married. Yes, give that some thought. This goes beyond hip-hop drama. This is a rap feud encased in a full-fledged Maury episode. And you know who just acted as a host. Fans watched in stunned silence as 50 Cent went live on Instagram and dropped a DNA bombshell so explosive that it left Papoose screaming off camera. Have you witnessed betrayal? Before you've seen one of rap's most devoted husbands, you haven't seen anything. Get caught off guard in front of millions of people. This isn't just a cheating scandal, so fasten your seatbelt. It's a family broken, a friendship destroyed, and a secret so crazy that only 50 Cent could reveal it in this way. Let's begin. This is how it all went haywire. 50 Cent, sipping his Branson cognac as if nothing were wrong, stared straight into the camera and uttered the sentence that ignited hip-hop, turning what had begun as a relaxed, chaotic Instagram live session into a straight-up soap opera. Fat Joe is the father, not me. Just that no warning, no build-up. Additionally, there was a visible guy pacing, shouting, and then tossing his phone in the background. It was Papoose, indeed. It was live, too. The comment section melted down at once. Screen recording was rampant, and Twitter lost consciousness. Let's go back a bit, though, because the Remy-Fat Joe friendship has always been a topic of conversation. If you've been paying attention to the sloppy rumors that circulate in backrooms and backstage dressing rooms, brother and sister, they insisted, Terror Squad family. However, my family doesn't get this cozy. Not when your spouse isn't present. Not when we only have to tour stops and late-night studio sessions. Not when the timeline for the baby doesn't add up. Things were wrong even in 2021. According to an unnamed insider who says they worked on Remy's outfit for a private function, she was constantly checking her phone and looking over her shoulder, and her energy would suddenly spike whenever Joe entered the room. They didn't have any microphones with them, so I assumed they were sneaking off to practice. Rumor has it that Remy was seen using the back-loading dock to leave the hotel that same evening, followed 10 minutes later by Fat Joe. It was captured on someone's iPhone, but not by paparazzi. Coincidentally, that grainy video has now surfaced again shortly after 50 Cent's confession. And because this was more than just small talk, let's speak about 50. It was a personal matter, you see. 50 Cent and Fat Joe had a long-standing feud that began in the early 2000s, during which time they argued about ego, rap loyalty, and industry deals. Yes, they did squash it in public, but that fire never went out behind closed doors. That wasn't a rumor then, when 50 went live and said, I ain't no liar, but I saw the test. And it isn't me, and it damn sure isn't Papoose. Y'all do the math. That was an outright murder. It was like witnessing someone smirk while dropping a nuclear bomb. According to one viewer, and throughout all of this, where was Remy Ma? Not at all. She wasn't on the internet. She didn't share anything, didn't reject, didn't verify. There was no one from her camp. Fans have been wondering who the father of Remy's child is from day one. So let's not act like this is a surprise. The baby's skin tone, the chronology of her pregnancy, and Papoose's enigmatic absence throughout significant occasions, all of a sudden, everything fits into a puzzle that nobody wanted to accept as real. But he thinks. 50 Cent, though. Furthermore, he didn't just mention Fat Joe by name. He doubled down. No. Have you ever wondered why Joe and she were so close and why he always saved her more than her husband? He said. Let that image haunt you. It's because he literally had her back. By this stage in the live feed, viewers could see Papoose trembling, not out of astonishment, wrath, or betrayal. Now, the entire world was wondering if the man who had always supported Remy through jail, lawsuits, and thick and thin was actually rearing someone else's child, and not just any man, but his so-called industry brother, who has been his wife's longtime collaborator. I was even tagged by some fans in the comment section, pleading for a special hip-hop version. People pleaded with 50 to stop, but he refused because, in true 50 fashion, he had receipts. He once produced a folded envelope and waved it about as if it were gold during the stream. Know what this is? He made fun of it. The truth is right there. The truth also doesn't lie. But as if it were 2005, you all continue to keep each other's secrets safe. The audience pleaded with him to open it. He didn't. The reason he has been silent all week is because he smirked. I already know. I have already seen it, and Joe knows, too, and you know what? It's not a lie, considering that Fat Joe, who seldom skips a beat on Instagram, hasn't shared anything in for days. No podcast clips, no throwback Thursdays, no workout videos, just silence. Which in the world of celebrities is louder than words? Papoose, the former worst man in rap, captured on audio that was leaked and came to light an hour later. According to reports, the audio was captured by a security guard's body microphone in the rear of a New York City lounge, where Remy and Papoose were meant to be having a private dinner. It purports to show him shouting, "I gave you everything, everything, and this is how you repay me." With him, it was obviously anything but. Now, fans are searching through old pictures and examining Remy and Joe's body language in an attempt to find Remy. People are circling timestamps, comparing tour timetables with pregnancy dates, and even squinting into the background shadows of Fat Joe's Instagram stories. Conspiracy mode is in full swing, as if that weren't enough. A fan account shared a 2019 video clip in which Fat Joe was asked, "Would you ever mess with someone close to his girl?" In a radio interview. Along with his response, he chuckled. "That's a loaded question, Joe. That's exactly what it is. It's about to blow up now." The question was no longer whether 50 Cent was telling the truth. How much time had he known? Since 50 doesn't talk until he has ammunition, let's face it, and when he talks, relationships break down, professions fall apart, and secrets begin to spill out like broken pipes in a Brooklyn basement. This time, the leak was particularly damaging since, within hours of his Instagram live becoming viral, a purported insider contacted several gossip blogs to assert that Remy Ma and Fat Joe had been having a secret agreement for years. Private knowledge, let's not mince words. The studio chemistry they often spoke about was more than just music, and they were supposedly hooking up. One blog source claims that Aitha had a pattern, with the woman claiming to have been Fat Joe's former assistant. She said, "I used to book Joe sweets and send flowers under Remy's name even before Papoose came home. There were weekends when they'd disappear on fake business trips. That baby was no accident. Everyone close to them knew." Wait a minute. We're talking about more than simply treachery now. We are discussing deliberate dishonesty, years of secret, rendezvous, flights, hotel reservations, and cover-ups. Papoose played the devoted but ignorant spouse, protecting Remy at all costs. Additionally, keep in mind the envelope that 50 Cent brandished during the Instagram live. A few hours later, an anonymous post appeared on Reddit purporting to be from a lab worker in New York City, who had identified the test format from the video. "That's a typical paternity envelope," he said. "Yes, I had already seen that particular one. Although I am unable to verify names, I can tell you that the initials on the sealed results corresponded to two well-known rappers. It isn't phony. We're talking about DNA-shattering pandemonium and hippo-violating." And Remy Ma remains silent, nothing, no legal threat, no denial. Which only made matters worse because, in today's culture, people start to assume things are true when you don't deny them. Papoose, meanwhile, was in a downward spiral. The next day, friends of the rapper said on a podcast that Papoose hadn't left his residence since the Instagram live went viral. According to reports, he was blaring Jodeci like it was a funeral, ignoring calls, and sipping Hennessy from a solo cup while wearing a bathrobe. According to one source, he repeatedly played back the live stream. Each and every he throws something when 50 says Fat Joe is the father. "He seems broken to me." And who wouldn't be? Really? Imagine standing up for your wife in the face of a jail bid, public criticism, betting stages, arguments, and industrial turmoil, only to discover that the child you love may not even be yours, and your wife's business partner, the supposed father. However, this was no longer merely a personal matter, because the entire industry reacted after 50 dropped that bomb. This was public warfare. Let's dissect it. 5 minutes later, Cardi B deleted a mysterious tweet that said, "Years ago, I had medium skin tone nail polish." Funklix captioned a vintage image of Fat Joe and Remy cuddling backstage. Wasn't it always about the music, despite her own long-standing feud with Remy? Nicki Minaj liked a dubious tweet that claimed she ain't. In response to Charlemagne the God's discussion of a scandal on The Breakfast Club, he stated bluntly, "If this is true, Papoose is the most played man in hip-hop history. You don't recover from this. There's no mixtape hot enough to heal that." However, things took a turn for the worse. Bloggers and gossip sites began to circulate a leaked email purportedly from Fat Joe's team, with lines like, "Our bond was always deeper than the industry knew. Mistakes were made, but they came from a place of love. I hope Papoose can find it in his heart to forgive us someday. Forgive us." It seemed to be a draft of a public statement that was never made public. So, it's not just Remy. It's us. In other words, Joe was before the news even broke. They were getting ready to co-sign the entire document. Additionally, the timing is oddly ideal. Fat Joe had canceled a planned podcast appearance, claiming personal problems, just days prior to 50's Instagram Live. Let's zoom out now that we know why. There is more to this than a simple love triangle. This has to do with legacy. Papoose was the epitome of devotion, the man who showed up, who held it down, and who waited. Fat Joe was to be his big brother, his mentor, and the godfather of their common industry lane, while Remy Ma was to be his ride or die, his queen. And it's all been burnt now. Timelines are overflowing with comparisons of baby photos from blogs. Backstage passes and travel logs are being extensively discussed in Reddit posts. TikTokers are doing elaborate skits that recreate the betrayal. Even the hidden love child of Fat Joe and Remy was created by AI. Memes are becoming popular. The fans are split, which is the worst part. Some people are yelling, Papoose is worthy of better. Remy is garbage, Joe cracked the code. Others claim that 50 Cent is to blame, that he is messy, and that he is using old feuds to maintain his popularity. He set this whole thing up, one user wrote, because 50 Cent is the king of weaponizing information. He doesn't just throw dirt, he buries people in it, and this time, he didn't just throw dirt. 50 is always playing chess while everyone else is playing Candy Crush. Simply damage one. Marriage. He might have ruined two careers, Remy's and Joe's, in a single live stream, but he's not done yet. 50 smirked as he logged off of Instagram Live, saying, "That wasn't even the biggest secret I got." Are you prepared for this? Because what comes next is where things take a dangerous turn. By now, the dust should have started settling, but it didn't. 50 Cent, being 50, is teasing another drop and fans are begging for answers. Who else is involved? Was this just a love triangle? Or is it something darker? Something that could bring the entire terror squad house of cards crashing down? The chaos conductor that he is didn't stop there. He allowed the internet to stew for a full day, allowing Fat Joe's silence and Papoose's heartbreak to marinate in the public's mind. Fans thought the story had reached its climax, and then 50 released part 2 of the live stream. This time, he wasn't drinking Branson and he wasn't smiling, he was dead serious. Y'all still think I'm playing? Nah. I told you there's more. Let me show you just how dirty this rabbit hole goes. He then displayed a screenshot of a text thread with names blurred. But one line stood out like a bullet through glass: "Don't let him know." You know how Papoose gets it. Below that, a timestamp. The messages were between Remy and Fat Joe, according to 50. And they were about setting up a private meeting to discuss baby-related matters without Papoose knowing. At that point, thousands of people were watching and the internet went crazy. TikTokers were stitching the clip before it even ended. YouTubers frantically updated their thumbnails mid-edit and, worst of all, Papoose joined the live stream. Yes, it was under a burner account and fans caught it. The username was Papaching83. And the comment read, "You aren't God, bro. Give up playing with my family." Boom. The anguish in that statement was audible. "You've been played, Papoose," he continued, looking at the camera. Despite the desperation and resistance to acknowledge what the entire world was witnessing. We all witnessed it. The last person to believe it is you. When Remy Ma's publicist issued a statement immediately following the stream, it wasn't a denial, a threat of legal action, or even a deflection. Rather, it was a confession. Remy Ma has always valued her privacy and her family, and recent revelations have caused great pain for those involved. While we ask for respect during this time, Remy acknowledges mistakes were made that she will address privately. Let that sink in. You can't script betrayal this good. Oh, wait? Yes, you can. We just did. Fans took that as a silent admission, and the media went into a full feeding frenzy. TMZ, The Shade Room, Hollywood Unlocked, Vlad TV, and others all had an opinion, a leak, and an exclusive. One TMZ report even said that Fat Joe has been covertly paying support for child-related expenses through a third-party business account. He built his brand on loyalty, strength, and black love, which became a national meme. Twitter users created a trend called #Purpose to describe when someone gets cheated on by their best friend without even knowing. One source close to him said, "He's completely shattered, not angry, just broken, and you can't blame him." Rumors circulated that he had checked into a wellness retreat upstate, while others said he was staying with a cousin in the Bronx in search of peace. "I was just dumped. No, don't text me." Ironic, unbelievably. But this is where things take a final turn and no one saw it coming. Because right when everyone thought the story was at its height, a new video appeared, not from 50, Remy, or even Fat Joe, but from Remy Ma's cousin, Nah Baby, on TikTok. In the 45-second clip, which was shot late at night in what appears to be a Bronx kitchen, Nah looks straight into the camera and says, "Everyone talking about Fat Joe this, 50 that. You guys aren't even aware of the half. What would happen if I informed you that it wasn't simply Joe? What if I told you that there was another person?" Cut. End of clip. The internet went crazy. A few minutes later, another person went viral. Was it a bodyguard or 50 of himself? What if the 50's reveal was a ruse, a deception? What if Fat Joe was the fall guy? What if the real baby daddy was still out there? Now fans are requesting DNA receipts. Petitions are flying, and Papoose stands are pleading with him to get tested. Remy Ma is still silent, but 50 is cherishing every moment. The following day, he shared a new Instagram story with the caption, "You thought that was it? I play chess." As I mentioned, not checkers. In addition, there was a grainy image of what appeared to be a hospital birth certificate, no name, no date, just a ripped fragment that was enough to start a million theories, and that's how we now turn it over to you, the viewers. Do you believe 50 Cent's story? Is Fat Joe really the father? Or is this just another chess move in a game of distraction? Was Remy Ma in the middle of two men's egos? Or was she running the game the entire time? And most importantly, is Papoose just a scapegoat? Because this wasn't just gossip. This was strategic warfare, a calculated hit, and we fans were just collateral damage, caught in the crossfire of a love story that was never really real. We want to hear from Team Papoose, Team Remy, and even the Joe Truthers who believe this whole thing was one big misunderstanding. Hit the like button if you think 50 just destroyed the rap industry one Instagram live at a time. If you want US to delve deeper, we're talking about leaked direct messages, old tour footage, and backstage microphones. Subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications.